Going on, Jerome's. So, like we said, we like going through a lot of mock drafts, get a lot of different perspectives, and one of our favorites is CBS Sports Ryan Wilson, where it's an adventure every single time, man. Like we jokingly said last week, like you got to take just a little bump, and then let's get this thing going, right? And like we said, mock drafts should change as new information is presented. Plus, it's good to work through various different scenarios. It would be really boring if every single mock draft from 1.0 to 75.6 near the draft was exactly the same. But there was a couple big changes in this week's version from Ryan Wilson's from last week's that we'll get into, where it's just like, and we'll get into possibly explaining why. But there's a ton of trades in this one. A lot of fun. So, one, Trevor Lawrence. Like we said, we're calling our shot now. Ryan Wilson will be the guy who breaks the barrier and has Trevor Lawrence fall from 1 and have Zach Wilson go up to 1. It's going to happen. It's going to be great. 2, Zach Wilson, Jets, Sam Darnold going somewhere else. 3, so here's where the trade started. The Dolphins were at 3. This is the pick from the Texans, and they flipped to Cincinnati, who come up from 5. Now, Cincinnati trading up for Penei Sewell makes sense because there's a lot of machinations of the draft in the top 4 where maybe they do miss out on Penei Sewell, and he is their guy. They already got their quarterback in Joe Burrow, so getting a franchise-level left tackle, getting a generational offensive line prospect makes a lot of sense here. So they go get him. Move up 2 spots. It costs him a little something. It's fine. 4. So last week he had the Falcons sticking to pick and taking Mac Jones ahead of Justin Fields and Trey Lance. But now they have the Panthers coming up 8-4, where I don't know if the Falcons would trade in division. Like, it's going to cost the Falcons. It's going to cost the Panthers quite a bit to make this move, but they come up for Justin Fields, where they don't get Deshaun, but they still get their guy in the draft. There we go. Let's go Matt Rule in Carolina. 5. So how do you like to be the Dolphins? You already have multiple first-round picks and multiple second-rounders. You get some nice from the Bengals for moving down 2 spots, and you still get Jamar Chase, where, yes, Waddle, DeVonta, respect, but for me, Jamar Chase is still the wide receiver 1 in this class. Like, absolute physical stud on the outside. Terrell Owens, reborn. I love him. 6. So the Eagles, a lot of trendiness has the Eagles taking a quarterback or wide receiver cornerback in this spot, but the offensive line was ass too. I mean, yes, they do have Lane Johnson come back from injury, but Jason Peters ain't working out, and just a myriad of injuries on that O-line. Hell, they may have to get rid of Kelsey at some point. So getting Rashawn Slater in there where he could play tackle, he could play guard, hell, he could probably play some center down the line too, but just fixing that and give Jalen Hurts a fighting chance makes sense. 7. So Trey Lance is on board, just chilling. But the Lions go with Jalen Waddle, that amazing, beautiful straight line speed, as well as help in the return game, getting Jared Goff a valuable target, especially since they're going to lose Galladay and likely Marvin Jones in free agency. 8. So the Falcons moved down from 4 to 8, get some draft nice from their divisional rivals, the Carolina Panthers, and still get Kyle Pitts, where, I love this one, where, Hayden Hurst was a nice free agent signing, but he isn't getting the type of volume that Kyle Pitts would certainly get. And having him as just an absolute red zone mismatch nightmare, and you still have the remnants of Julio, and you still have the stud in Calvin Ridley. I mean, giving Matt Ryan the last final chance for these last couple seasons, I like it. 9. So, I mean, the Broncos could go Trey Lance in this spot. They're probably not going to trade for Kirk Cousins. They're probably not going to bring in anyone else. So Trey Lance would make sense here for George Payton in the first year at the helm of the Broncos. But now Micah Parsons as a physical freak, a weapon on defense for Fangio. He could play Mike linebacker. He could play off-ball linebacker. He can rush the passer. He can help make up for the loss of Von Miller after they're soon going to decline his option. Sure. 10. So this is the Cowboys pick, but the Niners come up from 12 to 10, get their guy, no pants, or Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance in his mock last week fell to 19, so okay, sure. 19 to Washington, but yeah, I do think that Trey Lance would do wonders in Kyle Shanahan's movement-based West Coast scheme. Instant upgrade, plus they have a ton of weapons. They got Kittle, they got Aiyuk, they got Debo. Let's go get it going by the Bay. 11. So the Giants, a lot of picks have been wide receiver, but offensive lines could certainly use some freshening as well. Where Will Hernandez, Andrew Thomas, starting to work things out. I do like Matt Pert working his way in there, the former pride of UConn. But Elijah Vera Tucker, he could play right tackle, he could play guard, he can do a lot of things. So just protecting Danny Dimes and getting a nice push in front of Saquon makes sense here. 12. So the Cowboys were able to move down from 10 to 12 and get some draft nice, and still get Caleb Farley, cornerback 1 in this class. Jerry Jones does it again. 13. Ooh, making moves. I like it. So the Steelers, Big Ben obviously retires, so they move up from 24 to 13 for the Chargers pick and taking Mac Jones. Mac Jones, 5th quarterback off the board in the first dozen picks. So they get Mac Jones, where I feel like with their receiving core, and if they can just suture together some sort of a semblance of offensive line, even though Pouncey retired, they're probably going to have to gut DeCastro, and Villanueva's probably gone. I think Mac Jones has a fighting chance here. 14. So the Vikings. Now, we talked about this. If one of the big 3 receivers falls, they would have to consider it, especially given the Vikings have a bazillion 4th-round picks. DeVonta Smith is just a special player. And yes, why do they need a wide receiver 3? Well, eventually he's going to be wide receiver 2, because how long is Adam Thielen going to be playing at an elite level? Plus, DeVonta helps in the return game as well. And I understand that there are more pressing needs. Offensive line, defensive tackle, or Kwity Paye is there, Rousseau is there, Darisaw is there, Surtain is also on board. Christian Barmore is there if you want to go down that road. But DeVonta Smith is an absolute stud. And DeVonta Smith and Justin Jefferson instantly become the best duo in the league. Adam Thielen, that's the best trio. Maybe in Vikings franchise history. Ooh, the hotness. 15. So Azeez Ujulari coming in is the first edge off the board, where he had Azeez a lot lower last week. We didn't note it, but ahead of Kwity Paye, ahead of Rousseau, ahead of Jalen Phillips. It's really intriguing. Now, the Patriots had gone Jalen Waddle, but he didn't fall this time around. 16. So the Cardinals sitting chilling, and Patrick Surtain II comes in and replaces Patrick Peterson. Patrick for Patrick. Nice little swap there. 17. So Zaven Collins, I really like him, but I don't know if the Raiders will be able to pass up Kwity Paye or Gregory Rousseau in this spot, or Jalen Phillips for that matter, because I do think the edge is more pressing, but I mean, Zaven Collins is damn studly. Next up, 18. So the Colts Yankee swap with the Dolphins in this spot. They jump Washington and Chicago to get Christian Darisaw, which makes a lot of sense because I think that he would have gone in the next 2 picks. So getting him to replace Anthony Costanzo, just playing his ass at left tackle, protect Carson Wentz. Yeah, I love Christian Darisaw, man. 19, Washington. So they miss out on Darisaw and all the quarterbacks, but picking up Rondale Moore in this spot. Now, could you say Kadarius Toney, if you want this type of player, has a lot fewer question marks, as well as a lot fewer injury question marks for sure, but more with Scary Terry, with Antonio Gibson. That's a ton of playmakers for Taylor Heineke. 20. So this is interesting because you think Bears offensive line, maybe Tevin Jenkins or wide receiver. You think Bateman, etc. But now they go with Joke, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, where it's interesting because he's not really a linebacker, he's not really a safety, but he is a hybrid player where it does make sense where if you're playing against Rodgers or if you're playing against Kirk Cousins, especially the way that they're going to use Irv Smith, having a matchup equalizer like a Joke does make sense. But this should go O-line. 21, Dolphins getting Najee Harris. Now, you're going to give Tua the best chance possible. You already got him Jamar Chase, getting his former teammate a solid running back as well as a receiving running back. Najee Harris, pair him up with Myles Gaskins. Let's go get it. Next up is 22, Titans edge. So they pick up Jason Webb, the physical freak out of Penn State University. Go ahead. 23, so the Jets, where they already got Zach Wilson, you'd think that they would want to get Zachy some weapons or some protection, but no. Robert Saleh, defensive-minded head coach, he needs his cornerback 1, gets him in the building, and J.C. Horn got the length, got the press man skills. I like it. 24, so the Chargers traded down from 13 to 24. Now, they probably got some really good return here, probably a future first-rounder and some change, but still picking up Jalen Phillips, where they do need help on O-line. It's been a wash there, plus the cornerback room could use some freshening, but Jalen Phillips, opposite of Joey Bosa, since they're probably also going to get rid of Ingram. I like the fit. Plus, Jalen Phillips originally started at UCLA before he went to Miami, so he returns back to the City of Angels. The City of Angels. 25, Christian Barmore, where you got Lawrence. Could get him some help and some weapons, but Barmore, playing his ass at that 3-tech spot. Taven Bryan's been a disappointment. I like it. 26. Davion Nixon sneaking into the first round. So the Browns are probably going to let go of Larry Ogunjobi, as well as maybe Sheldon Richardson leaves. So him at that 3-tech spot in the middle of the Browns defensive line. Go ahead. 27. So the Ravens, wide receiver, but Trevor Morrig, first safety off the board, just adding more talent to that already gross secondary. I mean, come on, man. 28. Kadarius Toney in the spot, since they're probably going to have to cut Emmanuel Sanders to try and get underneath the cap. So Toney and Michael Thomas, I mean, I like it. I like it. But could they reach for a quarterback here? Could they get Kyle Trask here? Maybe. 29, the Packers, Nick Bolton, put him in the middle, put him in alongside Kamal Martin. That's a nice little inside linebacker duo. 30, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers doesn't get a wide receiver again because he could go Terrace Marshall or Bateman or Elijah Moore, but now. 30, Gregory Rousseau coming in. So Jerry Hughes aging out, and Rousseau can play multiple positions. I think that's going to be real important. Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott's defense. 31, so Melifonwu, this is the first time I've ever seen him in the first round. And Melifonwu is a nice hybrid cornerback safety, but apparently, hold on. We need to do our research here. No, he cannot play offensive line. He cannot. So I disagree here. And then 32, Travis Etienne. Fournette probably going to leave in free agency. Maybe they bring him back. Certainly changes things. Rojo would be a nice compliment, but Etienne is just too much talent. Just absolutely too much talent. Although they could use some defensive line help, especially if Sue and or Shaq Barrett leave, but it'd be what it be. Guys who didn't make it. So the most notable one is Kwity Paye. And what's amazing is that Kwity Paye was his number 10 overall pick to the Cowboys last week. So what happened? Like, what happened with Kwity Paye? He goes from 10 to out of the first round? Also, a couple first-round guys from last week didn't make it. Jenkins, Onwuzurike, Basham Jr., sure. And then, the normal run of dudes who are, fringe first-round picks. But, I mean, if this is what went down, and the Vikings do go with a super talented dude like DeVonta Smith, I would get it. I think that it would divide the fan base, but then again, what doesn't? Where you have absolute BPA, if he's the top guy on your board, you go get him. But yeah, it would piss off the people who are going for offensive line and defensive tackle, even though you can address those later on in the draft. And hell, maybe it's a spot where the Vikings do bring in some free agent help. Maybe not Joe Thuney, and maybe not Leonard Williams, but some mid-level free agency help in both trenches. And then you feel better. You feel better about taking DeVonta Smith. Roll Tide. But your thoughts on our thoughts, Ryan Wilson's latest mock draft. I can't wait to see what happens next week. Trevor Lawrence at 14? Question mark? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. I'll support that work post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.